Hello, my name is Monica Crosthwaite, and this is my leadership education plan. I am currently a fifth grade teacher at Dundee Elementary Academy, formerly the IB coordinator, a fourth grade teacher. I helped with reading, so I've been at Dundee Elementary for quite a few years, and I was very excited to do this education plan with my school. So we're going to get started. First is my resume, and my resume includes my professional profile, my key strengths, which I thought were pretty interesting when I did them online. I am a winner, so I infuse passion and competitiveness in things that I do. I'm a strategist, a brainstormer, and I'm a catalyst. So I like to do new things. I like to learn new things. I have very big ideas all the time, and I definitely see the big picture when I'm working with other people. Like I said before, my experience is an IB PYP coordinator for about 3 years at Dundee Elementary. Before that, I was a fourth grade teacher. Now I do trainings and things with IB and with reading, our reading curriculum of Lucy Calkins' Readers and Writers Workshop, and I'm really excited to be a fifth grade teacher this year. I have not done fifth grade before, so I'm very excited to do that. I have a teaching certificate of the state of Florida from 2012. I also get my very first intern this year since I'm back in the classroom, so I'm very excited to put that certification to work in good use. I'll be finishing my master's in educational leadership this summer, and so I'll have that on my certificate as well. Some awards and involvement in things that I've done. I was Teacher of the Year in 2017. I've been a Florida High Impact teacher for a few years when I was teaching fourth grade, and been highly effective. I have also been a big part of the community with the chamber and things like that. So I definitely put community involvement in my skill sets, as well as high verbal and written communication, presentation skills, problem solving skills, and collaborative planning and problem solving. So I created a Meet the Assistant Principal flyer. I would present this flyer probably mostly to the teachers when I first got there, or I would send it out in an email. I also kind of wrote it up as that I would send it out to parents as well. I might change a few things because they might not be so interested in little things like that, but I did want to give people my background and show my personal side as well as my bright side, and also my philosophy of what I think education should be. So I went ahead and I introduced myself and who I was going to be and things like that. My childhood, my education, and basically my philosophy just stated that I believe that everyone has the opportunity to learn, and it's our jobs to kind of change how we're giving information to students and presenting information and giving them feedback based on where they come from, because we don't all start at the same place, but we all need to have that opportunity to succeed. And that includes adults and that includes children. So moving on to some background information from Dundee Elementary Academy. I have the address and things and the website. If you feel free, you can go and look. So our demographics, we have a total of 632 students at our school. We have 203 white students, 101 black, 328 Hispanic. So we are a very high Hispanic population. Just over 50% of our school is Hispanic. Being a magnet school, that is rare since our enrollment should be about equal, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. That's what our goal was when we first started. But just because of the area that we're in, it is not viable to expect that in our enrollment. So definitely our community showcases through our students at our school. We have about 89 ELL students. We have 55 students with disability. We have 525 or 83% that are economically disadvantaged. So you'll see that FRL, that's for economically disadvantaged. And we have a little bit more males than we do females. And I definitely see that in my class list this year. Our history school grade, we technically started as an academy in 2014. So in that year, we were a C. Before, as Dundee Elementary School, we were actually a triple F school. So it's taken a lot of work to get where we are. In 2015 and 2016, we were a B school. We dropped down when we got a new principal. Our principal unfortunately passed away of cancer, and we did have a struggling year that year. We dropped down to a C, and now this year our school grade just came out, and we're back up to a B. So we're excited to try to get our school's very first A. We've never been an A school before, and we were a pretty good high up B, so I'm very excited to work on that this year. We are an International Baccalaureate World School. We were authorized in February of last year, so it's a year and a half ago. So being an IB school has definitely changed my philosophy in teaching. I was very excited to start and be an IB school. We were an IB candidate school for 4 years, so it takes a long time to get authorized. We're located in Northeast Polk County in Central Florida, a very small rural agricultural town, lots of orange groves, blueberries all around, and our population is less than 4,500. The town only has one elementary school, one middle school. There's no other school, so they do have to travel outside the town for high school. We are very close to Haines City and Lake Wales, so if you know where that is, we're right in between those two towns, and they kind of take over us, but Dundee is a very small town. You will definitely do not blink when you're driving by. So here is a summary of my leadership educational goals. So the first goal was to increase learning gains for all students in mathematics, and I definitely have a strong emphasis on learning gains for our lowest quartile in mathematics, but that is the learning goal that I'm going to go into for my presentation, so I'll talk about that later. My second goal is to increase learning gains for all students in English language arts. Our lowest quartile, as well as our students with disabilities and all subgroups, kind of went down a little bit last year from last year's data in terms of learning gains. So that goal is definitely overall all students' learning gains, because we did go down just a couple percentages. And goal number 3 is to increase learning gains and achievement for students with 2 or more early warning system or EWS indicators. So that could be attendance, behavior, anything like that. If they have 2 or more indicators, we're really pinpointing those students out and kind of trying to work with them more, because it is shown that students with those early warning indicators have scored mostly a level 1 on our state testing. So it wasn't so much a subgroup, but also these indicators, and I'll go over some of that data next. So here's the same data that I presented earlier, just the overall demographics and school grade history. Attached to the first goal, which I'll go over more in depth, is our mathematics FSA data from 2018 to 2019. You can see in 2018 we did go up. Sorry, we did go down. I was like, that's not right. We did go down, and like I said before, this is what really had me thinking that we really need a goal here, because our lowest quartile in 2019 went way down to 17% when it was way up here. So that is definitely something that we need to look back on. Here is mathematics lowest quartile by subgroup. So you'll notice that most of our lowest quartile students are Hispanic, Black. I was very shocked to see that there was no Caucasian students that were in the lowest quartile. We did have a lot of ELL, and most of our students were economically disadvantaged. So I thought that was an important piece of data to use. For our next goal was all about ELA. And so here are the students through subgroups, so it's a lot more evened out than it is in mathematics, so that was very interesting. And here is our FSA data from 2018 to 2019. We did go up in lowest quartile, but again, we did go down in achievement and learning gains overall. So that is where the goal and the meat of the objectives are for English language arts. Here's our data for early warning system indicators. Really focusing on those 4th and 5th grade students because they definitely did have the most. There's a total here of 603. There are some students in and out right now when I pulled this data because not all of our seats are filled at the moment. So that does look a little bit different. So we have some 4th and 5th grade students that attendance was below 90%. We have the most struggle with kindergarten students getting checked out and coming in tardy. So kindergarten really struggles with attendance, while as our upper grades are not so bad. 1 or more suspensions, you can see 5th grade, course failure, and ELA or math is very high in 4th grade. And level 1 on statewide assessments is high in 4th and 5th grade, lower in 3rd grade. So this is the data that we use to kind of indicate which students we're going to work with and pinpoint. So going on to my goals, objectives, action steps, and timeline, I am going to focus on goal number 1, which is to increase learning gains for all students of mathematics, but mostly with that lowest quartile of 17%. So here are the graphs again. Nope, I can't zoom in. I thought I could. This is the graphs again. You could see that we did go down the most right here in the lowest quartile, but overall we went down in learning gains for mathematics. So our lowest quartile decreased by 39% and learning gains for all students decreased by 12%. And we know that if we analyze the math data and in the fall, we monitor progress throughout the year, that hopefully our learning gains will increase. My first objective was to effectively use progress monitoring data for small group instruction. I feel with working with teachers this past year that we collected progress monitoring data, but we never took the time as a team to look at that data and then act upon that data. It was mostly, this is what it is, and then they would continue on their merry way, trying to work with students on something new instead of using that data to really drive their instruction. So first of all, we would analyze the student data with teachers at the very beginning of the year, pre-planning week. And we would kind of pinpoint those students of the lowest quartile. I don't think I would give them the list. I would really want them to look at the scores and kind of determine in their grade level group who the lowest quartile is and maybe who those bubble students are, and kind of give them the motive and the voice and the ownership over that. Next, we'd have teachers strategically choose up to 6 students in their own classroom for progress monitoring. Now, some groups of teachers might want to share these students, and some teachers might want to keep them on their own, but we did want to do up to 6, even if they're not all in the lowest quartile, just so that we can make sure that our overall goal of all students getting learning gains, especially those ones that are below proficiency, get up there. Next, we would conduct a professional development on small group instruction based on data. So it's not just about how to do small group instruction, but how to really use that data and take that data to then plan your small group instruction instead of just opening up a book or finding something online and doing that doesn't really fit all the students in your in your group. Next, we would conduct walkthroughs during small group math instruction to give feedback to teachers. I think this is really important to do for administrators, of course, but also for peer teachers to come in and look and get ideas. And we do have a form that we created for that. And then also, I think that we should meet biweekly to assess mathematic assessment data on those chosen students in a meeting and really talk about what worked, what didn't work, where we need to go from here, because it's all about using the data to then change instruction. The next objective is to create tasks and assessments that align to the depth of knowledge of each standard. So first, we need to have our teachers attend a professional development on depth of knowledge and aligning assessments to the depth of knowledge. And I think that should happen toward the beginning of the year, but maybe not right at the beginning, probably September-ish, maybe during a teacher work day. Next, our leadership team needs to attend LSI professional development in order to better give feedback to teachers during this process, because not only do the administrators need to know how to align standards to the depth of knowledge, but they need to be able to know more so that they can give really good feedback to our teachers. So I think they require a little bit more professional development than teachers do. Then we're going to utilize PLC times to pre-plan standards and align each standard to weekly tasks and assessments. This will take time, and it'll be a lot of debate and discussion as to which assessments, and assignments really align to the depth of knowledge of each standard. Next, I would like to organize observations to observe alignment. And again, that could be with administrators and it could be with peer teachers going in and out of their colleagues' classrooms. And then I would like to take the time to look back on lesson plans and assessment and tasks and really reflect on if it matched, if it didn't match, and go on from there. So I think reflection is going to be a very big part of this objective. Reflection should probably happen monthly. I would love for it to happen more, but there's not so much time in taking a planning day every week for reflection as much as I think it would be great. I don't think that that's feasible. Peer observations, I think, should happen more toward October, November area. Pre-planning for standards and alignment should happen weekly as we lesson plan. And leadership development, I know our county offered it multiple times per year. You'd have to go in different stages, so I added September, December, February, and April for that timeline. Our last objective is to increase time for ELL teachers and paraprofessionals to work with ELL students on mathematics. If we go back up here, you'll see that our Hispanic students and ELL, and those ELL students, those are all Hispanic, so they fit into here. And most of our Hispanic students, by the time they're in 4th and 5th grade, have tested out of being an English language learner, but language is still something that they struggle with a little bit, even in the upper grades and even if they're not categorized as ELL. So since that's the highest subgroup, I decided to do an objective with them. So I think it's important for our ELL teachers and paraprofessionals to spend more time with the students in the classroom during mathematics because most of the time right now they're in the classrooms just for English language arts and not for math. So first we would have to create a schedule to maximize classroom time for ELL teachers and paras during math. That's first and foremost. That should happen probably before they come back in the fall. So sometime in the summer, the AP or principal should work on that. Next, we have ELL teachers and paraprofessionals attend professional development on accommodations just in mathematics because it could be a little different than what they've been working on in ELA because most of our ELL teachers and paras have been working only in ELA. So I think maybe our reading specialist or our reading coach should kind of take that on sometime at the beginning of the year. Maybe when teachers are doing other professional development, they could be working on that. And then I have review assessment data biweekly with ELL teachers and paras just to kind of reflect on what's happening and using that data to then change their instruction and what their plan is. And we could do that biweekly beginning in August. Next is conduct coaching cycles with the academic coach. I think the literacy coach or reading coach could be the one doing this professional development and kind of take that on since we do not have a math coach. So we do mostly call her an instructional coach instead of just for reading. But as she's going around and coaching in small groups for reading, we could also have her coach a little bit in for math. And she is paid with our Title I fund, so it does sound funny that a reading coach would do something like that, but she's not only just for reading. So then I go in depth with my goal 2 and goal 3, which we'll skip over today and go over to our guiding questions. Questions for staff, for mostly everybody, the questions that I really wanted to ask is, what do you love about DEA? What do you think should change? And why do you choose to work here? Why do you choose to bring your child here? Since we are a magnet school, it is a choice. And so most of my questions revolved around that. For my parents and community members, I wanted to know, how do you feel the school uses you? Do you feel you're important? And does the school use you or utilize all your skills that you have? Because I think that will bring to light a lot of skill sets and opportunities for involvement that we didn't think of before. Some appendices, the first ones are for my first goal, so I'll just go over those. But I found a very great article about strategies to close math gaps for ELL students. So this is definitely something that we would use with our ELL teachers and paras, and definitely just classroom teachers as well, to kind of work through and muddle through, to kind of learn more things. But there are steps in there that could be very helpful. For the next objective, we have a Webb's Depth of Knowledge Guide. So this was really great because it went through each level, depth of knowledge level, recall and reproduction, and possible products and the different roles, possible activities. So you can make sure that what your assessment is or what your activity is really matching to the depth of knowledge of the standard. It does go into more detail about that, but it breaks it down by each individual one. Next, in our appendices, we have our progress monitoring parent communication log. So this is something that the teachers will keep track of, and we will reflect on just to ensure that it is working. So I added that in there as well. This is our alignment to the depth of knowledge observation recorder that we can use. And teachers can use this, administrators can use this, and it's all about, is the assessment or is the activity that's happening in the classroom really aligned to the standard and the depth of the standard. And those are all of the appendices. I hope you enjoyed learning about Dundee Elementary Academy and my leadership education plan. Thank you. Bye.